We often find ourselves in situations where we feel lesser than, manipulated, or even victimized. It's easy to get caught in a loop of negativity and frustration. But here's a transformative thought. What if you could convert every bit of this pain into power? What if every uncomfortable interaction could be a lesson in strengthening your character and reinforcing your values? This isn't about winning or losing battles with others. It's about winning over yourself, about mastering your emotions and reactions. Today, I'm going to show you how this ancient wisdom can transform the way you handle relationships, especially those manipulative ones that seem to drain your spirit. Stoicism doesn't just help you cope, it empowers you to thrive. By adopting Stoic practices, you begin to view challenges through a new lens. You start to see opportunities for growth where you once saw obstacles. This mindset shift isn't just powerful, it's life-changing. So, as we delve deeper into these principles, remember this: you are the architect of your emotions. You have the power to construct a life of serenity and strength, no matter what or who tries to disrupt your peace. Stay with me as we explore these transformative Stoic techniques that will not only help you handle narcissistic behaviors, but also enhance your overall well-being. If you appreciate the insights and transformation we're exploring here, the simplest favor you can do for me is to hit that subscribe button. Also, don't skip any part of this video, because if you're here, learning about Stoicism in the modern world, you're definitely not like most. You're someone who sees beyond the surface, a true exception. Let's get started. Let's take a step back and think about your own encounters. Reflect on those times when you found yourself ensnared in relationships that seemed more draining than nurturing. These weren't just rough patches or a series of bad days. These were interactions with individuals who, looking back, might have shown traits of deep-seated narcissism, the kind of people who take without giving, who leave you feeling exhausted without knowing exactly why. It's quite common, to enter into these dynamics without a clear understanding of what's happening. Initially, it's easy to dismiss disruptive behaviors as temporary or out of character. You might have attributed the coldness, the manipulative comments, or the subtle put-downs to external stresses in their lives, or even blamed yourself, thinking you were the problem. But Stoicism teaches us to observe not just the surface, but the patterns that reveal true character. It urges us to see beyond momentary interactions and to understand the nature of people and our relationships with them. Reflecting on these experiences from a Stoic perspective can be incredibly enlightening. Stoicism isn't just about enduring hardship, but understanding the root of our disturbances. It asks us to consider not just how we react, but why we react the way we do. What is it about these interactions that disturb our peace of mind? Is it the fear of confrontation, or perhaps a deep-seated need to be liked or approved of? By delving deep into these questions, we begin to free ourselves from the chains of external approval and manipulation. We learn to meet confrontation with tranquility and to accept the disapproval of others without losing our sense of self. Each relationship, each interaction that has tested your patience and peace has also offered you a unique opportunity to apply Stoic wisdom. You've likely learned, sometimes the hard way, that some battles are not worth fighting, not because you're weak, but because your energy and your spirit are better preserved for greater pursuits. This is the essence of Stoic resilience, choosing where to direct your energies wisely. Think about how recognizing and understanding these patterns earlier might have changed your reactions. Imagine moving forward, armed with the wisdom that you are the master of your reactions, that you have the power to not just survive challenging interactions, but to thrive in spite of them. Narcissists, by their very nature, are experts at taking without giving back in equal measure. This imbalance isn't just about not getting your emotional needs met. It's about a systematic draining of your resources, emotional, mental, and sometimes even physical. This relentless taking is rooted in their worldview, where relationships are not partnerships, but opportunities for exploitation. Understanding this can be jarring, yet enlightening. Stoicism teaches us the importance of seeing things for what they truly are, not just what we hope them to be. This principle is called the discipline of Ascent, where you train yourself to accept the reality of situations and people, stripping away your biases and wishes. In the case of narcissists, this means recognizing that no amount of your effort, care, or compassion will fundamentally change their behavior. They are driven by an insatiable need for admiration and attention, and nothing you do can fill that void permanently. This might sound a bit bleak, but here's where Stoic wisdom brings light to the darkness. Stoicism doesn't ask us to merely endure such relationships, but to understand our role within them. Are we enabling the behavior by constantly giving more of ourselves than we should? Are we mistaking our endurance for virtue? Stoicism advocates for a measured response, encouraging us not just to react emotionally, but to respond with wisdom and foresight. It teaches us to detach from the need to fix or save others, and instead focus on maintaining our inner peace. By understanding these dynamics, we can begin to set boundaries more effectively. Setting boundaries is not about changing the other person, that is beyond our control, but about changing the way we interact with them. It's about deciding what you will and will not tolerate, what you will give energy to, and where you will draw the line. This is not an act of aggression, but an act of self-preservation and respect for oneself. In recognizing the patterns typical of narcissistic behavior, such as their tendency to manipulate or degrade others to maintain a sense of superiority, we arm ourselves with the knowledge necessary to protect our well-being. We learn to see through the superficial charm and the initial rush of attention to the potential pitfalls that lie beneath. This understanding doesn't just shield us, it empowers us. It allows us to engage on our terms with clarity and composure, turning potentially volatile interactions into opportunities for practicing stoic calm and resilience. One of the most powerful techniques in Stoicism is the practice of indifference. But let's clarify what this means, because it's not about being uncaring or cold. Instead, it's about being selectively indifferent. It's the art of being deeply passionate about some things while remaining unattached and indifferent to others that do not truly matter. For those entangled with narcissistic individuals, this stoic practice is not just helpful, it's transformative. Indifference in this context refers to an emotional detachment from the manipulative behaviors that narcissists often use to control. It means not reacting to their provocations, their attempts to bait you into arguments, or their efforts to make you doubt your own reality. Imagine the freedom of not feeling upset, angry, or disturbed by someone's attempts to manipulate your feelings. This is what stoic indifference empowers you to achieve. The beauty of practicing indifference is that it shifts the power dynamics in your interactions. Narcissists thrive on the emotional responses they can elicit from others, whether that's anger, sadness, or frustration. When you respond with indifference, you're essentially cutting off the supply of what they crave the most, attention and emotional energy. This doesn't mean you don't care about the relationship or the person. Rather, you are choosing not to invest your emotions in their games. Stoicism teaches us that our power lies in our ability to choose our responses. The dichotomy of control is a central concept here, dividing the world into things that are in our control and those that are not. Your reactions are within your control. The behaviors and thoughts of a narcissist are not. By practicing indifference, you focus solely on what you can control. This not only conserves your emotional energy, but also enhances your sense of peace and autonomy. Indifference then becomes a protective barrier. It allows you to engage with challenging individuals without letting them disrupt your emotional state. You can hear their words, recognize the potential triggers, and choose not to let them affect you. This practice doesn't come overnight. It requires mindfulness, self-awareness, and a deep understanding of your values and what truly matters to you. As we apply this Stoic technique, it's important to remember that the goal is not to build walls around your emotions, but to fortify the gates. You decide when to open and when to close, whom to let in and whom to keep out. This selective engagement ensures that your emotional well-being is protected, allowing you to maintain relationships without being emotionally compromised. This Stoic technique is not just about introspection. It's about cultivating a deep understanding of oneself and one's reactions to external stimuli. It's about recognizing our triggers, our vulnerabilities, and our strengths, and using that knowledge to guide our responses in a more considered and effective manner. The process of reflection allows us to step back from the immediate emotions of a situation and assess it with a calm, clear perspective. This is particularly valuable when interacting with someone who may be manipulating your emotions. By pausing to reflect, you give yourself the space to differentiate between what is genuinely your feeling and what is being projected onto you. This gap between stimulus and response is where your power lies. In that space, you have the opportunity to decide how you want to react, rather than being swept away by initial impulses. Self-awareness goes hand in hand with reflection. It involves an ongoing dialogue with oneself about one's own mental and emotional states. Are you feeling anxious because of a real threat, or is it a reaction to manipulation? Are your responses based on current facts, or are they being colored by past experiences? By regularly questioning your own experiences and aligning them with your values, you start to see patterns in your behavior that might be contributing to unhealthy dynamics. Stoicism teaches that wisdom comes from within, from understanding our own nature and aligning our actions with our rational mind. The more you practice self-awareness, the more you understand your intrinsic values and motivations. This understanding allows you to navigate even the most turbulent relationships with a sense of clarity and purpose. You learn not to take things personally, not because you don't care, but because you understand that the actions of others are often more about them than they are about you. In practical terms, reflection and self-awareness can be cultivated through daily practices like journaling, meditation, or simply taking a few moments each day to quietly introspect. These practices help solidify the habit of observing your thoughts and emotions without immediately reacting to them. Over time, this builds a kind of mental and emotional fortitude that is impenetrable to the chaos that might surround you. This Stoic approach doesn't just shield you against manipulation, it enriches your entire life. It enhances your relationships as you become more attuned to not just your feelings, but also the feelings of others, allowing for more empathetic and genuine interactions. It sharpens your decision-making as you act not out of fleeting emotions, but from a place of balanced, well-considered judgment. By embracing reflection and self-awareness, you're not just surviving encounters with difficult personalities. You're thriving in your overall life. You transform from being reactive to being proactive, not just in specific situations, but across the board. This shift in perspective is powerful, leading to a more fulfilling and controlled life, where your peace of mind is paramount and your emotional well-being is protected. This Stoic technique doesn't mean resignation or passive endurance. Rather, it involves acknowledging and accepting what is within our control and what isn't. It teaches us to embrace the reality of situations and people as they are, not as we wish them to be. When dealing with narcissistic individuals, acceptance becomes crucial. It helps us to recognize that certain traits in others are beyond our influence. A narcissist's need for admiration, their lack of empathy, or their manipulative tendencies are ingrained parts of their personality that you, as an individual, cannot change. This realization is liberating. It frees you from the futile struggle to change someone else and instead directs your energy towards what you can influence, your reactions, your boundaries, and your mental well-being. Acceptance in Stoicism also means accepting the emotions and thoughts that arise in us without judgment. It teaches us to observe our feelings about the narcissist's actions without becoming entangled in them. This doesn't mean suppressing your emotions, but rather understanding them, recognizing their sources, and then choosing not to let these emotions dictate your actions. You learn to accept that while you can feel hurt, angry, or frustrated by someone's behavior, these emotions do not need to control your decisions or your life. This approach is empowering because it shifts the focus from external circumstances to internal resilience. By accepting that you cannot control others but can control your own responses, you gain a sense of peace and strength. You stop reacting impulsively to the narcissist's provocations and start responding from a place of calm and rationality. This doesn't just help in managing your interactions with them, but also improves your overall mental health and happiness. Practicing acceptance also involves letting go of the past and the possible future scenarios you might have imagined. It requires you to be present in the now, dealing with what is directly in front of you. This can be particularly challenging when past interactions have been painful or when you fear future manipulations. However, Stoicism equips you with the mindset to face the present with courage and composure, trusting in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. In practical terms, you can cultivate acceptance through mindfulness exercises that encourage living in the moment and through reflection that helps you recognize the limits of your control. Regularly engaging in these practices enhances your ability to detach from the desire to control everything around you, reducing feelings of frustration and helplessness. When we discuss empowerment in the context of dealing with narcissistic relationships, what we're really talking about is taking back control over our emotions, our responses, and our personal happiness. Stoicism provides a framework that helps us understand that true power lies within us, not in external circumstances or other people's behavior. This philosophy teaches that our own thoughts and reactions are the only things we truly have control over, and mastering them is the ultimate form of empowerment. By practicing Stoicism, you learn to maintain your composure, even in the face of provocation or emotional turmoil. This isn't about suppressing feelings, but about understanding and managing them effectively so that they do not overpower your sense of self. Imagine moving through life with a sense of inner tranquility that cannot be disturbed by outside forces. This is what empowerment through Stoicism looks like. It's about building an internal fortitude that acts as a buffer against the chaos of the external world. You learn to approach conflicts with a sense of calm, making decisions based not on impulsive emotions, but on rational thought and a clear understanding of your own values. One of the key aspects of Stoic empowerment is the concept of amor fati, or love of fate. This doesn't mean being passive or resigning yourself to whatever happens. Instead, it's about embracing everything that happens as an opportunity to grow and prove your resilience. When you adopt this mindset, every challenge, every difficult interaction becomes a chance to strengthen your character and reaffirm your commitment to living according to your principles. Moreover, Stoicism teaches us about the importance of self-sufficiency, finding contentment and fulfillment within ourselves rather than depending on external validation or circumstances. In relationships with narcissistic individuals, this can be incredibly liberating. Rather than getting caught up in trying to please someone who may never be satisfied, you focus on fulfilling your own standards and striving for personal excellence. In practical terms, empowerment through Stoicism can be nurtured by daily practices such as meditation, reflective reading, and journaling. These activities help solidify the Stoic principles in your everyday life and provide constant reminders of your ability to govern your own mind and emotions. They also serve as tools for self-reflection, allowing you to monitor your progress and stay aligned with your deepest values. Empowerment through Stoicism is ultimately about realizing that you are the architect of your own reality. It's about understanding that while you cannot control everything that happens to you, you can control how you interpret and respond to these events. With this powerful realization, you not only manage to navigate narcissistic relationships more effectively, but also enhance every other aspect of your life. You live with intention, dignity, and a profound sense of your own capabilities, free from the undue influence of others' negativity. This is true empowerment, and it's available to anyone willing to embrace the wisdom of Stoicism. As we close today, remember that Stoicism isn't just a philosophy. It's a daily practice of self-mastery and empowerment. Embrace these teachings and watch the transformation unfold within you. Thank you for being part of this journey with Stoic Journal. For more insights on living a Stoic life, don't forget to check out one of the suggested videos on the screen. Stay strong, stay wise, and continue to cultivate the calm within. Thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.